Pike's pushed more and far enough ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to toss it. Haven't got it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening and welcome back to Sunday night, which could be, only one thing, the iGPFun F3 League, and it's round 5, season 2, live from Circuit de Jerez here in Spain. We are in Spain, yes, sorry, I've got a little bit confused there. Right, so that is where we're at currently in a moment. Track length 4.37 kilometres in length and 13 turns currently at the moment. So here are the championship standings. Evan Way leading the way on 126, tied with Marcis Putnieks on 126 as well. Andy Flint 125, Chuck Morrow 123 with Kenzie Newhoff 123, Antonio Jimenez on 114 with Connor Gibb on 111, Christian Glamsia on 110, Marek Otlovs on 103 and Adam Townsma on 102. Then we got Vyacheslav Podopenko, Samuel Herma, Luca Varani, Philip Lucas, Leonard Cherry there as well in 14th. Then we've got Jakub Olezwinski, Gianfranco Bogotto, Koji Ito, Rino Scatini, Clark Williams, Dorian Oreo, Pedro Suarez, Yangshi Lin, Will McIntyre and Robert Widgeray. Then behind that, John McKenzie, Dennis Cornu, Zoran Samota, Max Bartolotta and Louis Gregg rounds out the top 30 here. It was myself, James Parfitt, with Ewan O'Leary once more here to bring you this epic race of 30 laps here as well. Welcome in, Ewan. How are you, sir?
Yeah, very well once again. Looking forward to another round of the iGPFun F3 League here today, and it's going to be a very difficult one indeed. We saw this last season. Qualifying so important, that has now drawn to a close. It's going to be difficult to overtake around here, although I think the difference to what we had last time is the fact we've got the chicane at turn 11 instead. I'm not sure whether that was there before when we did this last time. I can't quite remember, but even so, yeah, it's not an easy circuit to overtake on. So let's see whether it will help us out a little bit and see if qualifying is as important as I reckon it might be.
Yeah, definitely will here as well. We've got 40 cars on track and the purple zone with no active overtakes runs round to turn 5, which if you're looking at the track map is the bottom right hand corner of the track map currently at the moment. We are just coming towards the end of the 30-minute qualifying, and currently it's Samuel Herma on pole on a 1:33.443. Lee Aberdeen 1:33.489. So we will hopefully, I don't think that's going to be challenged at all, to be honest with you, and I think that's going to be set in stone as it is currently at the moment, as we are literally at the end of qualifying.
Yes, McIntyre Jones pretty much the last driver able to set a lap time here, and I'd yeah, be surprised if he can improve at all. It was about 9/10 slower than his personal best on that previous lap. It does only need 200ths of a second to actually gain a place, but as you can see, he's not improving on any of the times there, and so he will just stick behind for the moment, stick in that 4th place on the outside of the 2nd row for the moment. So he's got a bit of work to do from there, I suppose, but it's at least in a better place than some of the drivers are going to be in off of the start here. It's going to be a really difficult race for those outside the top 10, especially further down as well.
Yeah, it definitely will be. I think they're going to be up for a difficult challenge here today as well, but here is the grid for this evening's race, and it is on row 1, Samuel Herma, Lee Aberdeen, then Jakub Olezwinski, Will McIntyre Jones, Connor Gibb, Pedro Suarez, Kenzie Newhoff, Andy Flint, Tony Jimenez, Evan Way, Christian Glamsia and Young-Shi Lin behind that. Then on the next on 13th is Alvin Chan, Robert Widgway, Ryan Berry, Steve Ridders, Vyacheslav Podopenko, Clark Williams, Adam Townsman, Marcello Kessler, Irvin Sturmakens, Koji Ito, Jacques Williams and then Chuck Morrow. On from there, we got Marcis Putnieks, Paul LeMay, Marek Otlovs, Michael LeMay, Johnny Coco, Reed Dennis, Zoltan Zamotto, Paolo Brem, Ben Gaiotti, Dorian Oreo, Rino Scatini and Garrett Spence. And then bringing up the rear, we've got Alex Hopkins, Matthew Gracie, Dennis Cornu and Maximilian Gebhardt there in the last and final place. 40 cars on track, ready to go here, and we're in for what is going to be an interesting evening of racing. We got 30 laps for these drivers to basically battle with around this circuit, I think, Ewan, because at the end of the day, it's a very tough track here in Jerez.
It is a very difficult circuit, even to drive on your own or to drive with others as well. It's very tricky indeed. So a fantastic qualifying lap from Samuel Herma to get the lead, and he is now in a great place to win this race, but he will have a great challenge from Lee Aberdeen as well, who's not really been with us so far this season. not very often anyway. And so we'll see what he can do from that second position. Of course, it's going to be difficult off of the start with the purple zone that we have. He won't be making any moves. Well, nobody will on this occasion.
Yeah, it's no active overtakes. What that means is they cannot specifically go for an overtake, but they will be able to overtake a car if they are going off a track. Here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are green, green, green here in Jerez with Samuel Hermer, Lee Aberdeen, Jakob Oleszewski, Colin Gibb and Will McIntyre Jones as they go racing off around turn 1 side by side. Currently at the moment it's going to be important for Hermer to make a jump as soon as he's able to, because what he doesn't want to do is be in that purple zone and close to the pack. He doesn't want to be close to Lee Aberdeen when they hit the end of that purple zone, because it will allow them to start overtaking. Clark Williams has gone off and jumped directly to the pits as well. Everybody will game and place, and unfortunately for Clark Williams is down in 22nd place. But here we go now. This is it. The purple zone has come to an end. We are underway, full bore racing now with all of these cars on track, and as you can see in the background there is overtakes all the way through currently at the moment. We'll have a look back and see what happened to Clark Williams there, Ewan, but currently everybody through cleanly apart from him.
Yeah, relatively cleanly for the most part, and that's what the purple zone is exactly designed for, just to allow everybody to get underway at least in the race, so they can race for a little bit before things that really do kick off. Further back from that though, it has gone a little bit side by side into turn 6 for one or two of the drivers. Looks like everybody's been able to get away with it, although I guess unless you name to check Morrow, it looks like he's gone off the road ever so slightly, and maybe outside the top 20 things have kicked off slightly, but other than that it's been a clean start.
Yeah, Williams went off track on that first opening part of the circuit here as well. What did he get up to? He just went in too hot, missed his braking zone and put it straight into the wall there, unfortunately for Williams. Chuck Morrow's been off, Jacques Willems has been off and been back on as well, but the battle is commencing further down with Christian Glamseter. Of course, podium last time out in Mosport, finished in 3rd place. He's trying to track down Tony Jimenez here as well, and Glamseter's got quite an interesting start. He's still in the same place where he was, which is always good for him, but he's got to be looking at trying to make moves through the field as he's got 28 laps remaining.
Yeah, it certainly does. Can't afford to really wait around here. If you let this race sort of settle in here, then the driver in front of you will find it increasingly easier to defend from you. Glamseter there just pushes a little bit wide through turn 5, and now there'll be trouble in towards turn 6 as well. It doesn't look like they will capitalise on that for the moment. So still single file there in that battle just outside the top 10. And that's what we're going to see now. Just a bit of a settling into this race, but you can't really afford to do that. If you're trying to make up positions, you can't afford to settle into this race, really. You've got to try and strike while the battles are still fresh, while the driver in front is still not quite learned how to defend at the moment.
Yeah, Michael LeMay has also had an incident with Maximilian Gerhardt having one as well. And here is LeMay, what we can currently see on circuit. He goes off track, he spins the car, and unfortunately locks up there as well. Maximilian Gerhardt is another one that's also gone off circuit at this moment in time, but his battle still commencing with Robert Ridgway and also Alvin Chan and Yang Shi Lin here as these guys are off around that final corner and on that run down into start turn 1. Ridgway has got to try and get past Chan if he can, and he's not going to be able to make it through this time around here either. Jakob Oleszewski has got about a second gap currently at the moment to Connor Gibb, chasing down Lee Aberdeen. Jakob Oleszewski's had a great start to the race here, sitting in currently in 3rd place.
Yeah, very good start, not moving forward at all, but that's absolutely fine when you've qualified quite so well. He's applying that pressure to Lee Aberdeen as well, as the leader Samuel Hermer starts to extend his margin over the rest of the field entirely here. He's trying to make sure that he doesn't have to do any defending over the course of this race, and he can just run away with the lead. Further behind, battle for 4th place has now changed hands. Connor Gibb ahead of Will McIntyre Jones early on in this race, with Pedro Suarez there as well. Nobody inside the top 10 changing positions more than by 1. In fact, nobody inside the top 18 have moved up or down by more than 1.
Yeah, it's definitely, and then people have dropped down after that. That's where it's going to be interesting for them here as well. There's the gainers and losers. You can see that bottom half from 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th and 27th have all gained positions. So it looks like Alec Hopkins has taken a trip off the circuit here as well currently at the moment, as we're on board with Will McIntyre-Jones and Pedro Suarez behind that. But it is McIntyre-Jones fighting it out here as well, with Suarez tucked up right behind. This is where the battle's going to be happening. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. We've got Andy Flint and Kenzie Newhoff there as well. Youngshi Lin's just past Stephen Ridders. He's gone through. Suarez is looking racy here currently as they're going off around turn 2 here, Ewan. You know, it's going to be a difficult one for him as well. Where are we expecting most of the overtakes here today?
I think it's got to be turn 6, isn't it? Down at the bottom of the hill there. The tightest corner on the circuit. The biggest braking zone by quite some distance. And it's really the only chance you'd get. Turn 1's a half chance, I suppose. The final corner, maybe. But yeah, I think it's going to be all happening at turn 6. It makes turn 5, that corner there, very important. You need the runoff of there. Will McIntyre-Jones weaves around and tries to defend from Suarez, who's closing in. And he will now use that long braking zone for turn 6 to get down the inside. But you can hang it round the outside quite well. And it gives you the inside for the next 2 corners, which makes it even harder to overtake than it already is.
Yeah, Will McIntyre-Jones hangs on here as they go racing round turn 8. The long left-hander before they go on a short squirt down into 9. McIntyre-Jones and Suarez still battling it out. They've still got Flint and Newhoff as well. Newhoff did not have a good qualifying position. Qualified down in 7th at the moment. But how many times are we going to say that as well? Because we've seen that before with Newhoff, where he doesn't qualify well and then comes back through the race. And then we thought we saw a change going into the beginning of this season. And it seems like we've settled back in again here as well, doesn't it, for Kenzie Newhoff currently at the moment?
It certainly does, and this is a track that his driving style really does present a problem, because he doesn't qualify quite as well as he races, as we say, almost every week. And when a track is so difficult to overtake on, where it's quite difficult to actually race on a circuit, then that strategy kind of falls down a little bit. So Newhoff could be losing a little bit here, but if we were to apply the 2 drop weeks, he will be racing away with this championship at the moment. Because, well, not racing away with it, because there's some others there, but in terms of those who are within 3 points at the front, we've got 5 drivers, but Newhoff has only been at 3 of the rounds, whereas all the others have been at 4. So that says a lot about the season he's had so far.
Yeah, Robert Widgway still battling away with Alvin Chan and Youngshi Lin and Stephen Ridders and Ryan Berry. Vyacheslav Potopenko is in the group as well. There's another pack of cars here. What is Connor Gibb going to be doing, and what is Pedro Suarez going to be doing currently at the moment? He's trying to run around the outside of Will McIntyre-Jones. Is he going to be able to make it through? He's not this time around, and he settles on. He tries that little cutback going into turn 9, and Pedro Suarez still can't get past Will McIntyre-Jones. Jones runs wide. Suarez is going to nip up the inside of turn 10. Is he going to be able to make it through here as well? What about going into the chicane at 11? Nothing doing there. Newhoff run wide. Newhoff's on the Flint. Flint run wide.
Yeah. It's Flint who's gone across the grass there, across the chicane, and dropped back outside the top 10. Side by side between Suarez and McIntyre-Jones now for 5th place as well into the final turn. Suarez holds on to the place. Brief side-by-side between Newhoff and Evan Way as well. So getting very close here at the moment in the opening moments. And this is what I meant earlier on about making your overtakes early on, striking early before this race gets too settled, because you'll find it difficult after that. And that's what we're seeing in this group.
Yeah, we definitely are here. Suarez, McIntyre-Jones, Newhoff, Way and Jimenez now as well. Is tucked up currently behind Evan Way. He's another man that's going to be having a go here if he can, if he's going to capitalise, if he's going to make his way through. For Jimenez currently at the moment took a 2nd place, of course, at Catalonia historic circuit. He's going to be running down into turn 6 now. Is he going to be able to make it through? Are we going to be looking at the inside from Jimenez? Nothing doing at the moment. He pulls out and then settles back in. McIntyre-Jones looks like he's just made a mistake that's going to pull Kenzie Newhoff in right behind him as well. And McIntyre Jones sits in once more, currently sitting in 6th place with Nuoff right behind him here. It's all getting very close, but it's also getting very more difficult for the drivers to overtake as the race goes on, isn't it, really? Because obviously, you know, they've gone past that purple section now. That purple section's done, dusted 5 laps ago, 6 laps ago, and now they've got to try and make the positions up at a very difficult circuit here in Jerez. So it's going to be challenging for these drivers. I think there's a couple that might be able to make it through. Glamseater is looking a little bit quicker than Jimenez, 1:35.83 for Glamseater last time out, 1:36.42. So Glamseater is clearly showing that he's got pace at the moment.
He certainly is, and I don't think that's a surprise to anyone really. Inside the top 10 now, certainly showing that he has maybe the speed for a little bit more as well. He's just on the back of Jimenez right now, which is for 9th place, and we'll see how quickly he can manage to get through there, if he can at all. Now a few laps into this race, a little bit settled in now, but there still should be chances to overtake. It's this portion of the racetrack that's so important. Through turn 4, you don't really want to have a look at 5, you want to have the run out of this corner, and Jimenez knows that. Just needs to nail this, and Glamseater is going to struggle to get through. Jimenez indeed breaking the slipstream as well, so Glamseater will struggle to get through here. It'll be a huge dive from back at this distance.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Jimenez goes to the right, defensive straightaway out of turn 5, then he drifts across the track, coming out of 5 on that run down into 6 there as well. He had it all covered. What about McIntyre Jones? Has he still got it covered currently at the moment? Nuoff settling in behind him here, and is still trying to close in on McIntyre Jones. McIntyre Jones runs wide again. That's going to allow Nuoff to come up. He cannot seem to bury turn 9 at the moment there for McIntyre Jones. He's made the mistake a couple of times going into that corner as well, and twice he's been under pressure. Once from Suarez and now from Kenzie Nuoff.
Yep, it's Nuoff who's going to have a go into the final corner. Maybe here he looks to the inside again and can't quite do it. McIntyre Jones is just going backwards a little bit though early on here. Qualified in 4th, of course, and now has been overtaken already by Gibbon at Suarez. You'd imagine that Nuoff is going to be next because of the way that he races over the course of a distance like this. So McIntyre Jones is in for a little bit of a miserable race if this continues on, because look at the train behind. He could be overtaken again and again and again.
Yeah, definitely will. They've got 22 laps remaining. That is the last sector, the last lap times. You can see McIntyre Jones is not quicker than Nuoff. Nuoff on a 1:35.584 last time out, and McIntyre Jones on a 1:35.58, I believe. But however, that McIntyre Jones on a 1:35.7 and 1:35.58 for Nuoff. So Nuoff's definitely got pace here. He's trying to close in currently at the moment. There was a little shake move from Flint. He's moved out and then moved back in once more as well. So Flint's looking racy at the same time. Down here with Adam Helmsma and Irvin Tumakans. They were side by side here currently at the moment as they're going running off around turn 7. Is Helmsma going to be able to tuck up the inside of 8? He looks at the inside here as well. He's got to try and follow it through. He's got to take the... Here we go. Can he take the initiative into 9? No. Tumakans comes back up. Doesn't allow him to go through. They're having a nice tidy battle side by side racing. Very respectful from the two of them. And again, Townsman just couldn't make that move work. Coming out of turn 8 there, he had the inside, but obviously Tumakans at the inside for 9.
Yeah, very respectful, and this is what you get from this circuit. When you do actually end up side by side, it is actually quite entertaining racing to enjoy, but it's just quite difficult to get there. Corners, you know, go one way then the other. You can go for a cutback. It's quite wide as well in these F3s especially, which does help you a little bit in terms of racing. So it can still be very entertaining, even if it's quite difficult to get that initial bits side by side. Wanshi Lin just behind Chan at the moment for 13th place, but it's all still very close. The top 17, 18 or so are really covered by not very much at all, although the top 5 or so are beginning to stretch themselves apart a little bit. The 5th place on backwards is one long line, really.
Yeah, it definitely is. Pedro Suarez is leading this off here, and he's got McIntyre Jones, Nuoff, and goes all the way down to Andy Flint, and then a little bit further on to Youngshi Lin, and then there's a 1.25 gap to Steve Ridders in 15th as well. So gap starting to appear in. Lee Aberdeen is slowly closing up here on Samuel Hermer at the moment. The gap's now back down to 4 tenths. Was a little bit further out. I believe it was out like 8 and 9 tenths earlier on. But as we're on lap 9 here, it's down to basically about 4.5 tenths with Lee Aberdeen chasing down Samuel Hermer. Is it, do you think from a circuit like Jerez, is it tough for them to be trying to close the gap up? Because Hermer is looking, you know, lap times the last time out, 1:35.17, 1:35.16, right? So there was literally practically nothing between them. But it is looking tough for Aberdeen to try and close this gap up.
Well, if things are going really wrong for you, then there's so many corners that you will lose a lot of time, actually. You know, just with corner after corner, you're just losing again and again and again. And so, in one sense, I suppose it can be quick to close in, but it's that very final bit of closing there, from when you get just within that half a second to actually being close enough to make a move. Because at this distance, Aberdeen is close, but not enough to make a move. And that final bit of distance, because of the dirty air with these F3s and the corners, the way they are, the high-speed nature of them, that's what's a little bit different and difficult to close in. So Aberdeen will just sit there in second place right now, and we've got to be careful that, I think this happened last season, I think it was Luca Verani maybe, who just sat in second or third for a long period of time, just waited for the moment, and we thought, you know, he's just waiting for the end of the race, waiting for that moment to strike. But in the end, sitting behind just chewed up his tyres, and in the end he was trying to get through but just couldn't in the end, and struggled towards the end of the race. So Louis Aberdeen has got to be careful of that to make sure that he doesn't spend so long sat behind the car in front, he ruins his tyres and ruins any chance of a win.
Yeah, he pulled in 2 tenths last time out as well, did Aberdeen. And he's slowly closing in here. He's slowly making that close over Hermer. Can he get it successfully done before the end of this race? There is the sector zones. You can see Hermer is slower in sector 2 and sector 3. He's quicker in sector 1. What about going over the line here? Hermer slower again. Aberdeen's pulled in a little bit more time. 1:34.66, 1:35.17, 1:35.27. So not a lot between them. But Aberdeen does close up at certain points of the circuit. Is he got to use where he is managing to close up to try and make an overtake, do we think? Has he got to put his car alongside Hermer, or has he got to go and make a dive into the corner? What's going to be going through Aberdeen's head here? Because as you say, if you sit behind him, you're going to be chewing up tyres. Hermer had a big old slide coming out of 5, managed to get a hold of it, and breaks the draft going down the straight as well. So it's going to be tough for Aberdeen either way we're looking at it. Sit behind, wait, chew up your tyres, dirty air, a lot more things to try and comprehend with. Or is he going to want to try and get that through as soon as possible and try and lead from the front here with 19 laps remaining?
I'm not entirely sure how he's going to manage this, to be honest. He's already settled into that phase where Hermer is comfortable with Aberdeen behind him. He's not unsettled by that. You know, it's difficult to strike straight away, but ideally you'd want to, if you're in Aberdeen's position. You've just got to try and find a way to put Hermer offline here, but it's so difficult to do that when you just can't get very close. Hermer's got to keep his eyes forwards here. Don't look in the mirrors too much. Don't be put off by Aberdeen right behind you. If you run your line, then you will be very, very difficult to pass. Out the final corner, Aberdeen will get close again. Hermer will maybe have to think about defending. He may be look at the mirrors. But even this close, Aberdeen has got a big dive to make at turn 1 because it's just not that big of a braking zone.
Yeah, he's just not managing to get through here as well. We'll keep an eye on these guys for a minute to see if that run out of turn 5 down to 6, can Aberdeen strike? Why he is hot. He is toasty hot currently at the moment, and he's doing an absolutely stellar job staying with Samuel Hermer. He's now coming down. The gap's consistently 2 tenths, 2.5 tenths. He's got to try and close it in a little bit more. Hermer goes over the other side of the track. Aberdeen says, well, go for your life. I'm not going to follow this time around. I'm going to sit and hold on here as we see Jakub Oleszewski blinking in the background. Can he get through? It's the gap that we think is slowly increased back out to 4 tenths again here. It's so difficult, isn't it, when you're at a circuit like this, you know, when we're looking at, it seems to be a Spanish circuit theme, actually, to be honest, because we talk about Catalonia as another difficult circuit to overtake on, and never really leads to what we class like great racing, but it always seems to deliver depending on what the car is. You know, Jerez kind of giving that same vibe here, Ewan, as well, with the whole, like, you know, the overtaking, the closing of the gap, the dirty air, the difficult in corners, you know, it gives that same vibe off as Catalunya does.
I wonder what Aragon's like and whether that's a similar Spanish circuit when we go to that later on in the season. I've never even seen that track, so have to look at that when it comes around. But yeah, that certainly seems to be the feel from this one. I don't know if we can call it similar to Barcelona, but I guess it is in some ways with the way that it's laid out. Battle for fourth place seems to be picking up just a little bit here, with Conor Gibb getting caught by Pedro Suarez, and Will McIntyre-Jones all of a sudden has stopped being overtaken here. He stopped the rot, and that's pretty difficult to do in itself as well. Kenzie Neoff now stuck in that 7th position, so not sure how Gibb's been caught quite so quickly here, but he has, and by 7/10 on the last lap.
Yeah, he definitely has here. Unfortunately for Conor Gibb, I'm wondering if he had a little bit of a moment. It doesn't look like he's been off, unfortunately, for the man from No Limit Sim Racing. But Pedro Suarez, McIntyre-Jones and Neoff, and also Evan Way is also closing. So this is going to be a nice, interesting 5-car battle here as we go into the last 17 laps. What is basically Conor Gibb going to have to do? Is he going to drive defensive, do you think? Or is he going to just try and stay on the line that he's on? Because obviously he's been caught in an exponential amount. 136.05, 135.57 for Suarez. So Suarez pulled out nearly half a second on Gibb on that last lap alone. You know, is he having... Are we expecting tyre deck to play a part? Are we expecting, you know, just Conor Gibb just not being able to carry on with the pace that he was showing at the beginning?
I'm not entirely sure. It seems too early, really, for tyres to be falling away, considering we're still in the first half of this race. It feels too early for that kind of effect to be taken on. What's the lap time this time around? 35.7. It's closed in by another 10th or two compared to some of those behind. But now all the drivers are sort of equalising in terms of pace, and this is what happens when you get stuck behind someone as well. You somewhat get tunnel vision, and you can find yourself stuck behind a little bit as well. So yeah, Gibb has just lost a bit of speed in the last couple of laps. He's been caught now, but now it comes the real problem, is how is he going to be overtaken here? Not sure he is going to be, really. Through turn 5, he gets the good run, and if he just continues to do that, then Suarez will find it very difficult behind, especially with McIntyre-Jones there, who'll be, keeping one eye in his mirror at all times as well.
Yeah, we're just looking further down the field here. Paolo Brem, Dorian Oreo, Garrett Spence, they were running side by side. Oreo now. Oh, there's contact. That's Spence.
Oh dear. This is a big mess.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling Michael LeMay was involved in this one as well. As we jump on board with Spence. And you can see there's a slow exit, and then everybody just got, well, it was a very bizarre move. He got attached there as well. So Oreo, Michael LeMay and Garrett Spence all involved in that little incident there as well.
Got no rear wing.
Yeah, Spence has basically just got to jump back to the pits. He's got nothing currently at the moment. Jakub Oleszewski is pulled away from Conor Gibb. Conor Gibb has still got this train of cars. 4 very quick drivers, Suarez, McIntyre-Jones, Neoff, all behind him at the moment. Good evening, Mr. Fertile, as well. I do love your message there in YouTube chat, but at the moment we've got some great racing going on and some very close racing from these guys as they go off round turn 2 at the moment.
Yeah, especially close for 4th place. Conor Gibb still holding on to this position right now. Suarez needs to strike pretty soon, although he might end up on the defensive himself from Will McIntyre-Jones, who's right behind him at the moment. Through turn 5 they'll go. Is it a good enough run here from Suarez? He is forcing Gibb to go defensive a little bit. McIntyre-Jones chases the slipstream as well. Neoff deciding to stay where he is. Suarez on the defensive, really, more than attacking himself.
And I bet from Gibb's point of view, that's a massive sort of sigh of relief there, as he did survive that one. But it isn't looking like it's really affecting Suarez at the moment. He's still looking like he's going to be on the attack of the Conor Gibb. McIntyre-Jones is looking a little bit more racy as the race is halfway through the 30 30 laps that we are going to be doing here at Jerez, and it's looking like this battle is going to keep going on and going on and going on, as Kenzie Nieuwhof once more there as well is looking rather interesting here behind McIntyre Jones. As you say, McIntyre Jones has stopped the rut of losing positions. He lost 2 there from where he actually started, but he's looking like he's managing now just to settle down a little bit. Was that beginning of the race, you know, not being able to get things hooked up as early as he probably wanted to?
I'm entirely sure really what he intended to do with the 3 in front of him on that particular lap. He might just be sitting back and waiting and watching to see what happens in the front group, well, not the front group, but between these 3 in front, and then maybe he can strike and gain a place or 2 when it all transpires. But as we've spoken about, there is dangers to just sitting there and waiting. Evan Way is being one of them. He's not too far away. Are there any good enough runs out of turn 5 on this occasion? On the run down that biggest braking zone of them all, there's some weaving around, no changes.
Yeah.
Once again, Gibbs still holds on to 4th.
Yeah, Hermer's still out in front. Aberdeen's got that 2 tenths gap. Currently back down again. The man from Australia as well. Very multi-international field. That's amazing. Yeah, it is. We've got people from all over the world here in this race as well. All these F3 drivers are doing an absolutely incredible job, and we've still got basically 36 cars on track. We did have 40 to start, but now down to 36 here, and these are the 2 that are leading out front. Samuel Hermer, Lee Aberdeen, as they come over to complete another lap here. Aberdeen stays to the right, Hermer then he goes to the left, and Hermer's weaving and weaving and weaving, and Aberdeen's closing in as well here. He's trying. I think that's the interesting thing. Aberdeen, I don't know. I don't think he's just sitting there. I think he is. Oh, Hermer, big old slide coming out of turn 2 on that run down of 3 there. I don't think Aberdeen's sitting there. I think he's trying and trying and trying as best he can.
I think so. McIntyre Jones may have been trying for a move as well, but he's off the road now in an instant, I think, at turn 1. It was certainly in the first sector because they weren't too far behind these guys. Oh, it was. Just a bit of a slow up in front of him. He gets into the back of Suarez and he drops outside the top 10.
Oh, McIntyre Jones there, unfortunately. Looked like Suarez just got a little bit of a slow exit. And unfortunately for him, McIntyre Jones nearly joins his back end. Evan Way is caught up to the back of Kenzie Nieuwhof, but that's probably going to be affected from what happened last time. Flint's caught up to the back of Jimenez here as well. And then further down the field, Alvin Chan and Steve Ridders. Ridders has just gone past Chan with Potapenko trying to have a go at, he's got McIntyre Jones in front of him as well again. So we said about McIntyre Jones stopping the rut and losing places, and then now all of a sudden he's all the way down in 17th here, but Chan is running side by side with Ridders. They're swapping backwards and forwards. There's no fewer than 3 overtakes between these 2, 4 overtakes already between Alvin Chan and Stephen Ridders as they're on that run up into the chicane of 11. But it's looking like this part of the order as well, 13th down to 18th, is also providing some amazing action.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that happens at any circuit. When you start battling, you lose a lot of time, and those behind can catch you up very quickly. Well, that's even more dramatic effect around here because of the twists and the turns. So it's all, well, everyone's now involved. 13th place is the position they're fighting for, and Chumakun's at the back here of this group is somewhat involved as well. There'll be a few more catching, like Adam Townsma, Koji Ito as well, to round out the top 20. If they continue on like this at the front of the group, then they'll all catch up, as Kenzie Nieuwhof actually has gotten through on Pedro Suarez here.
Yeah, they have exchange of positions, and Suarez is looking like he's under attack from Evan Way. Way's going to look at diving up the inside. He's going to be alongside into 6 here. Is Way going to drop Suarez down another position? Is Flint going to drop Jimenez down as well? No, it didn't get done. It did from Evan Way, and Suarez is now on that decline of places here where he's lost 2 places already. Like to point out in the rookie series here for Connor Gibb, this is an absolutely stellar job. He's leading Dennis Cornu by 3 points at the moment here on 129. And Connor Gibb is going to be taking an absolute chunk out of Dennis Cornu, who unfortunately is down a lap already. I think he's actually possibly out of the race in 36th place there. So that's an absolutely amazing job there for Connor Gibb in that rookie series. Reno Scattini is currently leading the 2.5K with Dorian Oreo, who is also behind him here with Chuck Morrow there in third place as well. So some excellent regression points gains from the likes of Connor Gibb here.
Yeah, and he'll be very pleased about that. Very much running on his own now in that fourth position is Connor Gibb, and that's very good for him to see. He can hopefully just bring this one home without too many challenges from those behind as we go on to lap 19. Samuel Hermit still coming under fire from Lee Aberdeen, who's gently yo-yoing off the back of that leader, it has to be said. He, gets a bit close and then loses a bit of time, then gets closer again. Still not able to get alongside, getting to lead. Still not able to push Samuel Hermit off of his racing line, which is what he needs to do.
Yeah, he does. He needs to kind of muscle in and get his elbows out and get them wheels out of that F3 and get him alongside Samuel Hermer in some shape or form. He needs Samuel Hermer to be leaving him a gap. He needs something for Aberdeen here as they're going off around turn 9 through into the right-hander at 10 here as well. Hermer's back end looks a little bit slidey, or is that just my eyes imagining that? But the last couple of quarters, he looks like he's been sliding it through there.
Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. It's somehow, or sometimes, some people just drive cars that way. I mean, it looks uncomfortable to me, but some people just do that, especially over the course of a short race like this, where tyre temperatures don't get out of hand for hours. Oh. Meanwhile, Samuel Hermer is weaving around a lot now. He might be in for a warning if he continues to weave just a little bit too much, because Lee Aberdeen's very close behind now and will be looking for this move, but Hermer's just trying to break the slipstream. That's what he's doing down the straights at the moment, just trying to make sure that Aberdeen can't gain as much in the draft.
Yeah, he's definitely got to be careful here as well. They were also talking about track limits in the driver briefing as well for the likes of coming out of turn 2. So Hermer was a little bit close that time to the initial picture of what they've said as well. So he's got to be a little bit more careful coming out of turn 2 there. Otherwise, them track limits are going to be paying him no good if there is a penalty applied for Samuel Hermer. So he's got to keep an eye on that one, and he's got to be keeping it within the white lines. That is, at the end of the day, the outer edges of the racetrack, and you cannot be over that as well. Suarez and Jimenez side by side as we just catch the end down into turn 6. Jimenez side by side here as well. Is he going to try and muscle through on 7? He's not going to have the inside for 9, mind you, as he's going to try and sweep in. He manages to hold on to it. What about Andy Flint? Is Flint going to be able to go through on Suarez as well? Suarez is going down the order. Unfortunately here, Suarez dropping down and down and down, and he's lost another position, I think, to Flint, who's going to hang it around the inside. Is he going to be able to get the outside for the chicane at 11? And now Glamsey is having a go. What is going on with Pedro Suarez at the moment, Ewan?
Well, not entirely sure, but that bit of side-by-side is going to allow Robert Ridgway to get a bit of a run, and Lynn as well, possibly for a move into the final corner. There goes Ridgway. Oh, that was close. On the inside there of Glamsey for a top 10. Couldn't quite do it into that particular corner. And they will get single file once again, but after quite a few laps, they've finally sorted themselves, well, quite a few corners, I should say, not laps. They've sorted themselves out. This is, once again, the kind of thing you see at Jerez. It's single file until it's not, and then all bets are off.
Yeah, it definitely is. That run from 5 down into 6 seems to be their main focal point here as well. You've got to be able to get closer enough here as well with Suarez, who is under attack from Glansier. He is not in a good place currently for Suarez as we're looking back at that no limit sim racing, and here comes Glansier now. He's going to try and run around the outside. Is he currently at the moment? Is he going to be able to make it round the exit? I don't think he's going to be able to. Is he running round? Is he going to be able to hold on for the inside here as well for Glansier or Suarez? Side by side they go, round turn 7. Suarez is going down again. Ridgway's going to try and muscle up the inside and use Glamsia to help him through it. And poor old Pedro Suarez, he's just going down the order. He's lost that place to Glamcia, and he's looking possibly that he could lose it to Ridgeway as well. And Young Shilin, if he's not careful either. But the leaders are now back at it once more. 2 tenths. They use that back marker to try and gain some slipstream for Hermer. Down into turn 1. Is it going to be Aberdeen? Is it going to be Hermer? It's still Hermer at the moment.
Oh, that's wide from Hermer. He will get an off track from that, but he'll get away with it as well. Lee Aberdeen will apply pressure and continue to do that. He is running out of laps somewhat. 9 to go, including the one that they're on at the moment. So there's not very many chances now for Lee Aberdeen to go through. He needs to continue to work at this and just get the run out of turn 5. But as you can see there, Hermer's got the comfortably better run. He's weaving around all over the place to try and break the slipstream all over again. Aberdeen nowhere near close enough at turn 6 this time.
Yeah, that double weave is definitely an interesting one. He's making slow exit coming out of turn 6, though. That's going to allow Aberdeen to try and have a go. He's going to try and cut that back here as well. Is Aberdeen going to be wanting to stick his nose inside? He's not, but that fast double move from Hermer where he goes left and then goes right. Aberdeen's going to be looking up the inside of turn 9. He's pushed him out there.
Oh, no! Oh.
Hermer and Aberdeen. They're off.
Olszewski's going to take the lead. Jakub Olszewski's going to take the lead ahead of Hermer and Aberdeen, who both collide on this lap, and Aberdeen still hasn't got out of the wall.
Oh, Lee Aberdeen and Samuel Hermer on lap 22. Here we go. You can watch Hermer. He gets loose coming out of this corner. He runs wide. Gets the back end sliding. Hits the little bit of the AstroTurf and the gravel. And around he goes and sticks Aberdeen. Unfortunately, he catches Aberdeen. And as we say, Jakub Oleszewski, well, an absolutely stellar job from him here as well. Takes the lead. Absolutely incredible.
Well, and you'd imagine he's going to keep it as well, because Hermer might have damage as a result of the bit of contact there. His tyres will certainly be warm. And look at him sliding in the background there. A combination of damage and warm tyres are going to do that. It's put Connor Gibb on the podium, but is Hermer going to be able to hang on to this podium place now because of the way that his car is? I would maybe doubt it, although he does have quite a bit of a gap behind to Gibb and Newhoff fighting for third.
Yeah, Connor Gibb and Kenzie Newhoff here, scrapping it out. Gibb is in front as well. Further down, we got Glamcia, who's under attack from Ridgeway. Suarez is under attack from Young Shilin. Unfortunately for Suarez, he's sliding down the order here as well, and he's just dropping and dropping and dropping. It's looking like he's going to lose another position to Young Shilin. He did. Lin's gone through as well, and that's Suarez down into 12th place now as well. I'm wondering if Suarez tires a shot here. I've got to be honest, he just doesn't look like he's got anything to try and A, combat the positions he's losing, B, defend against the positions, and C, try and even remotely get back to positions.
Yeah, it's proving very, very difficult for everybody at this stage. For some reason, Pedro Suarez has seen a huge drop-off in the second half of this race, and I cannot really say why at this stage, even outside the top 10 at this stage. 5 positions lost on the start here. McIntyre Jones is the only one inside the top 20 to have lost more, and that's because he had a spin, so that doesn't even really count for him. So, yeah, I can't really figure out why for Pedro Suarez as Robert Ridgeway gets alongside Christian Glamcia, and out there side by side towards turn 1.
Yeah, get Ridgeway on the right hand side, Glamcia on the left. Round turn 1 they go. Ridgeway's going to try and run that outside line. He's got to be careful. He's got to be careful because they were posted earlier on as well. And them off-track limits is very tough. Glamcia gets a slide on and Ridgeway does go through. Is Glamcia another one struggling with tyres because he looks like he's possibly going to be under attack from Young Shilin? Are we seeing now on lap 24 the deck kicking in? Are they going to be struggling here as well? We'll have a look and quickly see what the weather is doing here in Spain at the moment. And we're looking at 32 degrees centigrade track temperatures. Oh, slide from Ridgeway there. That's going to allow Suarez to come back up. Is the track temperature playing a part at the moment?
I'm not entirely sure, really. It's hard to say because we see this from Ferrari all the time about fears about track temperature, and it always says it's never as bad as they expect it's going to be. So I'm not entirely sure. I think this circuit was always going to be a difficult one, no matter what the temperature was going to be. And it's the kind of thing you expect at this time of year, that you are going to get some pretty hot temperatures at this particular circuit anyway. So I don't think it will come as a surprise to any of the drivers. And that's when it is a little bit more dangerous, when it is a total surprise, comes completely out of the blue, and you can land yourself in trouble quite quickly. But since that's not the case here, really, they're absolutely fine in terms of this circuit at this time of year and whatever. I don't think it's too much of a worry, but we'll see. There's still 6 laps to go, including the one that they're on. Plenty of time remaining in the race.
Yeah, Marek Otlov is chasing down Paul LeMay here. LeMay has got Otlov tucked up right behind him as well. They're coming on that run down into turn 1 at the moment. LeMay in front from Two Brothers Racing. Marek Otlov's behind him. He's got to be careful again as Otlov's, because that could have been conceived as a penalty, judging by what was said earlier on. That's got to be a penalty for Herma, says Exotic in YouTube chat. Well, we're not the stewards up here as well, and I don't like seeing myself in the stewards booth for comments that I've made, so I'm going to stay out of it. And it looks like poor old Pedro Suarez has just lost another position to Stephen Ridders. He's just dropping back, isn't he?
He's side by side at the moment, and yeah, he is behind now. So yeah, just continuing to drop back, and still can't really put my finger on why for Pedro Suarez. I can't think of any contact he might have had that might have given him damage. I really don't know, but for some reason the second half of this race for him has been a lot worse than the first, and I think finally now he might be able to hang on to a place inside the order. Top 12 is where he is right now. I think McIntyre Jones might be too far away to catch him, so yeah, I think it's not ideal for Suarez, but even so, he might be able to hang on to this.
Yeah, wasn't Suarez and McIntyre Jones? Was it It wasn't McIntyre Jones and Suarez, was it? I thought it was Nuoff. Let's have a look.
Suarez.
But that little bit there, was that little bit of contact would have called Suarez? It was Suarez, but that was minimal, wasn't it?
You would say so, but you never know what kind of contact is going to disrupt, you know, the car, the airflow, and all this kind of thing. You don't, yeah, it's hard to know sometimes. You can see there, it does look a little bit nervous, I've got to say, the car, and in which case, you know, I will take back some of my comments, to be honest, because if he's dealing with a damaged car, then you know, we can't really expect anything more from him.
But that contact, as you say, just looked minor. Gibbs finding himself under attack from Nuoff. Nuoff's up 3 places here as well. We were talking about Nuoff's qualifying again, and now once more during the race he's doing an absolutely stellar job as he's chasing down the last final podium position here. Can he get this from Connor Gibb? Well, he's going to be looking at definitely having a go here, and Nuoff on a 135.5, Gibb on a 135.86 last time around, so Nuoff was quicker as they're coming down this final corner here. Is this going to be Nuoff's run down into turn 1 as we're coming on to lap 27 here as well? So we're going to see how this pans out between Gibb and Nuoff over the next few laps. Nuoff making himself known, but no real intent there, I don't think, from Nuoff. I think that was just a hello, I'm here.
Yeah, and he'll be pleased to finish in this position, I think, even where he is right now. He's only been off the podium once in the 3 races that he's appeared at. He wasn't at round 3 this season, but a second place at VIR and a win last time out at Mosport has set him up nicely in the points right now. So where he is, I think, would satisfy him, but he would like to be back on the podium again for the 3rd time in 5 rounds. Still think he's in a good championship position, and he doesn't need to risk everything here. I know that season so far, but when the couple of drop weeks are applied and we start to think about them about the halfway point in the standings, it's going to look good for Nuoff as Jimenez goes for his half spin.
Jimenez out of turn 6, he was trying to get around the outside of Andy Flint. He didn't make it, and unfortunately for Jimenez, he lost that place to Ridgway now. All that, it's got to be so upsetting. All that hard work, all that fighting throughout the last 27 laps, and then to go and do something so minor in there for Jimenez as well. He's got to be sitting there kicking himself.
He probably will be. But it's what happens when you get out wide and on the dirty side of the circuit. It does get very dusty around here. I don't know how iRacing simulates that, if they do at all, but you can find yourself in a lot of sand and all sorts on the outside as Ozuski's lost the lead. Samuel Herman's back in the lead, and the race leader has just pulled to a stop.
Oh, Jakub Oleszwinski here. What did you do, sir? What did he do? Oh! Something's disconnected.
Oh, it's definitely a wheel failure there. Something is absolutely disconnected, and luckily for him, it's not spat him into a wall. He very easily could have had a stuck throttle on full, and it just turned full to the right, and he would have been having a spectacular accident. But thankfully, it locked the brakes and turned him to the left where there was no wall. So that's a consolation, but he has lost the lead.
Yeah, he's now down in 5th place for Oleszwinski as well. He's going to be completely gutted with that one. That did look like some kind of technical failure. All of a sudden, it just pulls him over, locks the brakes up and spins the wheel to the left-hand side. As you say, lucky enough there, Ewan, he didn't have anything to deal with. Now, the question will be, will Samuel Herma hold on to this win? I think it's going to be difficult with that incident with Aberdeen. Penalties, possibly, maybe. We don't know how this is going to go, but can he hold on, do we think, to this time?
I think so. I think at the maximum he's going to get a warning for his weaving earlier on. It was a little bit much at times, but in the end it was all right. I don't think personally he should be given a penalty actually for the incident with Aberdeen. I know that that's going to be a disagreement with one of the YouTube comments, but I don't think personally he did anything wrong. The only thing he did wrong was he went wide, he got into the gravel and he spat. That was the thing that he did wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't mean you can penalise him for it. He's not done anything illegal in the race, which, you know, he's not done anything against the rules. He's just lost the car, which is, you know, he's not intentionally crashed into Aberdeen. So I think a penalty would be especially harsh. And really, you'd be reacting to the consequences of the incident rather than the small mistake that was actually made.
Yeah, definitely. I do fully agree. There, you know, on that one as well. He didn't do anything on. Will the track limits come into account now because of where he has been? Will the weaving get taken into consideration as well? Because that fast left-right weave or right-left weave that he was doing, it's definitely an off-putting motion, but I suppose in a way that's kind of the plan that he wants to have, doesn't he? He wants to off-put the car behind so he could try and break that toe coming out of turn 5. And it's all part of the gamesmanship racing kind of scenario, but it is sometimes also frowned upon as well.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see what happens in the penalties. And by the way, I don't think we spoke about the penalties from the last race, but there wasn't too much to report on. It was only a few warnings given out, suspended, DQ, so nothing to actually affect last week's race, which is, I guess, part of the reason why we haven't really mentioned it, because it didn't really have any bearing on the race results after the checkered flag. So hopefully that remains the same at Jerez here. We've seen pretty close and clean racing, thankfully, here today, so I wouldn't imagine their stewards will be very busy.
Yeah, I don't think they will be, as Nuoff is going to be trying to get past Connor Gibb on the outside into turn 1, the final lap of the race. Is this going to be Nuoff? Apart from Gibbs sliding there, Nuoff kind of helped him almost onto that one.
Very nearly, and Nuoff does not want to throw this one away. He's on the podium again now. He would like to pass Connor Gibb and get this extra point, of course, but he's in such a strong position. He doesn't need to risk everything. He's almost too close going into turn 5. He's pulled to the inside and he's basically shot any chances now of going through. Connor Gibb should hold on to second for the remainder of this one unless there's something spectacular in the last part of the lap. I think Kenzie Nuoff has realised this is a good drive into third place, 4 places gained on the day. He's putting more points into his championship rivals as he's not actually attended one of the 4 rounds we've had so far this season. He's in a very strong position and there's no point risking it all to get into second place.
Yeah, just for that extra point gain, is it worth it? Well, Nuoff it might be, as these guys coming off round 9, turn 9 and 10, and it looks like Gibb is going to hang on. I don't think Nuoff's going to risk it for the biscuit going down into turn 13. I think that would just be crazy as your leader is coming off round turn 12 now. Samuel Herma is coming round the final corner of this race. Oh, I thought he was going very slowly there. That looked a bit bizarre. Herbert comes over the line. He does take that win here as well in Jerez. Connor Gibb comes over in second. Nuoff in third. Evan Way fourth. Aulo Zwinski comes over the line here as well in fifth place after his what can only be perceived as a disconnect. What about further down? Jimenez holds on from Glancia, from Lynn, from Ridders as well. What about Ben Gaiotti? Is he going to hang on to this position here as well as he's chasing down Reno Scattini as they're coming into the final few corners? That's another interesting close ending that we are going to be keeping an eye on as they come over the line very, very shortly. But I got a funny feeling Scattini will hold on as he's round the final corner now. Gaiotti tries to the tighter inside line. It's going to be a run down to the line. I think Scattini's going to get it. He is going to take this one. Reno Scattini and Ben Gaiotti over they go there as well. There's big puffs of smoke coming from up front. What is going on? Is that Connor Gibb doing donuts? It's not Connor Gibb. Was it Robert Ridgway? It is. Robert Ridgway finishing off. He's happy, I think, here, doesn't he?
Living in a world of his own is what he is at the moment, by the looks of it. Just blocking our view entirely. Anyway, he's just having a bit of fun there. Seventh position. But a decent race in the end. Samuel Herbert, for some reason, slowed down on that last lap to make the winning margin as close as was comfortable there. I think he's just trying to make his win look a little bit more tantalising than maybe it was. But I don't really know. Can't really think of any other reasons why he would slow down quite so much on that final lap. In the end, the gap was indeed less than a second between 1 and 2.
Yeah, here are the race results here. And it is Samuel Hermat who takes the win. Connor Gibb in second. Kenzie Nuoff third. Evan Way in fourth. Jakub Oleszwinski, that he must be absolutely gutted to whatever technical failure he had. There, he must be fuming about it because he was out in front by 2.5 and he looked like he'd wrapped up that win. Andy Flynn in 6th, Robert Ridgway 7th, Tony Jimenez in 8th, Christian Glamseater 9th, Young Shi Lin in 10th, Steve Ridders 11th, Will McIntyre Jones in 12th, Pedro Suarez 13th, Alvin Chan 14th, and Vyacheslav Potapenko in 15th. Then on that, we've got Irvin Turmikins, Koji Ito, Paul LeMay, Marek Otlovs, Marcello Kessler, Ryan Berry, Zoltan Samoto, Johnny Kokoko, Reno Scattini, and Ben Gaiotti. And then after that, we've got Adam Townsler, Reed Dennis, Paolo Brem, Jacques Willems, Dorian Oreo, Michael LeMay, Marcius Putnieks, Maximilian Gerber, and then we hit the one lap down on Matthew Gracie. And then behind that, of course, we've got the Lee Aberdeen, Dennis Corno, and Gareth Spence. There with Alex Hopkins, Chuck Morrow, and Clark Williams, whose Williams race didn't really last very long there, Ewan. He was off on the first lap.
Yeah, I didn't really see what happened to him either, or unless I'm forgetting.
He ran in. Yeah, he ran in deep. He missed his braking point and then nearly crashed into the car in front. So he turned left, and then unfortunately after that he couldn't quite stop the car. So there you go. Right. Another interesting evening in of racing, though. What seems to be a very difficult circuit. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a very difficult circuit, Jerez. Not one of my favourites, I've got to say. Maybe that was obvious in the course of the broadcast. But yeah, it's such a difficult circuit. Although I will say, I really do enjoy the racing once it finally gets going. You notice it in these groups. There's these moments of calm. Everybody's trying to work each other out, obviously, as we've been speaking about so much. But then somebody gets alongside somebody else, and it just kicks off between everybody in the group. And it's fantastic to watch when we get to that stage. But it just takes a little bit of time to get there. Looking forward to getting some more ideal circuits in terms of actual overtaking over the course of the next few rounds, because it has been pretty difficult recently. Hungarian not likely to be too different next week. Aragon I'm yet to see play out, so looking forward to seeing how that will be. But we've got Donington Park coming up a couple of weeks after that, Nürburgring, Monza I'm especially looking forward to, the championship finale. So there are some good circuits coming up, some real fan favourite ones.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be interested to see how these guys handle Detroit. I'm not going to lie, 40 cars around Detroit is going to be very, very interesting. And I'll be interested to see how that one pans out. I think that's one of the circuits I'm looking forward to. I'm interested to see how Aragon's going to go as well, because obviously if it's got that natural feel to some of the interesting circuits in Spain that we have seen, Catalonia and Jerez, of course, is it going to give us something different? It does have a hard braking zone into 16, so that could be quite an interesting one. But I mean, going to be interesting to see how Aragon goes as well. But yeah, it's been a very exciting evening here once more, guys. That's going to wrap up the broadcast for another evening. Good evening, Phil. Welcome in. You've just caught the end of it. So thank you so much for joining us as well. But we are just about finishing up for another interesting evening in the IGP Fun Round 5 Season 3 live from Jerez with myself and Ewan O'Leary. But for now, guys, as always here, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.